and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Sunday for a special bonus toy news video this week. Of course, just yesterday I had the regular toy news, but here we go on Sunday with a bonus toy news celebrating G.I. Joe Day with a lot of G.I. Joe reveals. But on top of that, we got more wrestling talk, and we even got some Powertown talk, Todd McFarlane, and of course McFarlane Toys to close the show. So we got a wild toy news here. We're going to dive right into it. But first, got to thank the sponsor of the toy news on this fine Sunday. It is Decade Eyewear. Head over to the QR code posted right here. Pick yourself up some shades. Save yourself $10. Got to get a deal out there. And you guys know I'm a guy that loves a good pair of shades. I'm all in. I'm all in with the blue shades this time around. But thanks to Decade Eyewear, check them out. Like I said, scan the QR code. Save yourself $10 by using that code. Got to get a deal out there. Should mention the Patreon, of course. We're in February now. I can't believe it. February giveaway. It is 2 giveaways on the Patreon this month. Brody Lee, Jazzwares Vault exclusive. And we're giving away the Street Fighter Rock crossover figure, Walmart exclusive. 2 chances to win on the Patreon this month. Appreciate all the support over there on Patreon. Always getting early access to both my YouTube channel videos, my weekly podcast, all the glamour shots, bonus videos. There's a lot going on Patreon each and every single day, and it truly is the best way to support the channel. How about that? But now let's dive into it. It is G.I. Joe Day. I guess that's a thing I always forget about, and conveniently enough, today, as we're watching this, I did put up a Super 7 Ultimate G.I. Joe Destro unboxing from his time in the Python Patrol. What are we doing here? But I did post that this morning, just a coincidence, so check out a new G.I. Joe review on the channel. But let's get into these G.I. Joe renders. Let's talk about these. Now, some of these we knew were coming. Some are totally new, but we're going to dive into it. And I do got the descriptions here from the Hasbro team, and we'll just read it here. It's G.I. Joe Day, and today's briefing is stacked. And you know, if there's one thing people know about me, I like things that are stacked, especially my women. No, maybe not. Maybe. We're rolling out all new render reveals. Scroll through to see every last drop of intel. And you know, Todd, you get every last drop every single time of the intel, among other things. But first, another one, speaking of Todd, and speaking of my wife too, we're going airtight is what we're going into today here. The Joe's iconic CBR specialist has entered the field, Mask Up. Now, airtight, an absolute favorite of mine from my childhood. Interesting reveal pictures on this one is it looks like the mask is not removable. And it was always wild in the cartoon back in the day when Airtight would take his mask off. He just didn't fit the persona or the look of what I imagined Airtight to be. And I'm not sure at 3 years old what I thought Airtight was going to look like, or 4 years old, whatever it was. But I always liked Airtight, an old school fan favorite for a lot of people, myself included. So definitely a welcome addition to the Classified series line. Another one is the Hydro Viper. Cobra's elite underwater nightmare emerges from the deep. Absolutely loved this one as a little kid. I always put him with the Cobra Law figures because he felt like he could fit in with Crocmaster as well. It was kind of to build out the ranks of Cobra Law for me as a kid. So that's another welcome one. Really loved that once upon a time. Another one I've had on my most wanted lists over the last couple of years from G.I. Joe Classified. It is Cobra Overkill, not Overt Kill. He's changed his name a few times. Always Overkill to me, and I always imagined him being named after the Motorhead song, of course. But it says, Cobra Overkill, a Gen 3 bat prototype turned battlefield commander, ready to absolutely ruin the Joe's day. Always had him lead in the Cobra bats, and when I was a kid, I had the OG bat, and then I had that neon kind of bat, the V2 one, whatever you want to call it. And then I had Overkill, and he had that talk box machine. Always loved that. Wish we could have got that with this one here. Unfortunately, not going to be there. Next up is a classified figure. Very convenient for the G.I. Joe Classified line. It says, identity unknown, intel sealed, drop your theories in the comments. Now, I love a good cowboy. I love a good Western wear. Heck, I'm wearing a little Hook 'em Horns Western wear here today. So I'm all in on this one. Now, you see a cowboy, you immediately think Wild Bill in the G.I. Joe days, but I have a feeling this is a different Wild Bill. We got Wild Bill with the HasLab. There's apparently a Wild Bill retro coming here in 2026. So I wouldn't think they'd go back to Wild Bill on this one. So who could it end up being? I'm not exactly sure. Could it be somebody like Fast Draw, a reimagined Fast Draw figure? I was thinking that. Maybe it would be great to get a Cowboy Flint out there. We know Flint makes the money for the Joe team. It's always good. You know, they did do that Flint HasLab with the bonus Snowcat last year. So wouldn't be shocked to see another Flint this year. Maybe they'll go Cowboy Flint, of course. I'm not sure. Maybe something out there in Topeka, out there in Kansas, Wichita. Maybe. Not exactly sure what that's going to be, but it could be just a brand new made-up character. It could be an old favorite. Put your thoughts in the comments down below. One I'm very excited for, another 2-pack. David Red Dog Tapatupa and Varahun Tarus Ayazarzan. Renegades rise up. Sergeant Slaughter's legendary team is finally complete, and yes, that beard goes hard. And not the only thing that's hard, right, Todd? Oh my gosh. But of course, love Red Dog, love Taurus, of course, Mercer completing the bunch once upon a time. Makes me want to get Wild Bill, Judge Wild Bill as well. Now we're talking Wild Bill. But I'm here for the Slaughters Marauders. I'm here for all this. Very excited for that pack here. Very fun times and very cool to get these guys in action figure form after all these years again. Next up was one, I don't know if we did see this or not, but it is Zanya. That is Zartan's daughter. And I believe she came in the later comic book series. And for some reason, I feel like we got her in the 25th anniversary line. I might be mistaken on that. But I think it was like Zartan didn't know he had a daughter. And then the Dreadnoks found her in like Kansas City of all places, if I remember the storyline. But it does say Zanya and Dreadnought Chameleon Swamp Skier. Of course, a very pivotal vehicle for Zartan back in the old G.I. Joe days, a favorite of mine as well. The Dreadnoks hit the swamps, bringing chaos and bad intentions. Now, this wouldn't be a bad one to pick up multiples so you could get all your Dreadnoks on Swamp Skiers, and you could always sell off the Zanya figure because I have a feeling people want Zanya and maybe not the Skier or vice versa, and obviously people like us that want both. So there might be some meat on the bone there if you need to. We did see this. We knew this was coming. Ninja Force Zartan. I was all in on the Ninja Force once upon a time. I didn't mind that line. I know some people didn't like it a whole lot, but I did enjoy it. And it's coming back here with Zartan, the leader of the Ninja Force for the bad guys, in my personal opinion. The Dreadneck leader returns for Covert Ops. And how Covert Ops are you with a huge mohawk that is bright orange? I don't know how Covert Ops you are at that point, because nothing says stealth like an orange mohawk and neon green pants. Well, look at that. I should write the copy for this stuff, Todd McFarlane. They're getting ahead of me there. And it says, sound off below what's your favorite reveal. And pre-order info and more intel drops during this year's New York Toy Fair, which is Valentine's weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So Toy Fair historically isn't as big as New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con, but we do get reveals out of that. A lot of it is some industry workings, a lot of the Jay's Toys and Games going over there and meeting with McFarlane, meeting with Hasbro, whatever, talking wares, talking shop and stuff. So be interesting to see where that ends up dialing into. But I'm here for more Joe reveals, here for more Joe pre-orders. Been pretty quiet on the Joe front. Should have those retro ones, I guess, any day now in the next week or so. That would be Zap, Crimson Guard, and Crazy Legs. Of course, a ceremonial favorite for mine around these parts, and we'll get into that in those unboxings. But a little quiet on the Joe front. I have a feeling it's going to be a G.I. Joe summer once again like it was last year. So we'll stay tuned and wait for that. But that is G.I. Joe Day. You can't have G.I. Joe Day go by without a video, without some reveals, without some fun as well. So G.I. Joe Day in the books. We look forward to Toy Fair to see what else we see, pre-orders, all that kind of fun stuff. But since we did the toy news on Saturday, there was some late breaking stuff. There was the talk where I had to do a cut in yesterday's video that some people missed. But Masterverse apparently coming to an end in 2026, moving over to the Chronicles line. And as we kind of talked about, I see that they're wanting to get to a uniform line and stuff, and maybe that's their ultimate goal here. You get Masterverse, you get the DC that is incoming, you get your wrestling, you get it all under one umbrella. I don't know, but I'm still on the table what to think about this and the changing of scaling, going away from Masterverse, which I'm pretty deep. I'm not going to say how deep, but you know how deep, Todd McFarlane, I'm into that. So it's always tough when they change, and it's always the fork in the road. Do I continue on? Do I say, okay, it was fun while it lasted, He-Man. I got the Origins, I got the Classics, I got the Masterverse, and that's where I'm going to end it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So we'll see. We got the fork in the road coming. We got the fork in the road with Jazzwares later this year. Todd McFarlane, DC, fork in the road. There's a lot of forks in the road. Hopefully you got some tires that can take some hits, because it's going to be a bumpy ride, I think, as we close out 2026. So much more on that. But as I finished yesterday's video, another thing came out, and it was the new Masterverse. I want to say Masterverse, but Masters of the Universe movie figure line, the 5.5 ones we've been talking about. It looks like we first got our first glimpse of what these are going to be. Now, I'll say first things first, the package looks really, really good. The figure's a little bit less than, but you got to take that business step back. These are for the kids. These are for the kids that love the movie. This isn't an adult collector's line, so you got to look at it with a different magnifying glass than you would an adult collector line. That being said, I can see some people diving into these. Some interesting stuff. I love a hairy bipedal creature. The Beastman looks crazy. Looks a little wild with that, like, it's not face paint, but it looks like face paint on him. But it looks extra creepy, if you ask me, for old Beastman. Teela, I don't know if her eyes are coming or going. I don't know what's going on with that one. And then He-Man just kind of looks like the movie He-Man. But most likely, these are going to be a pass for me. Maybe I would buy the Beastman just to check it out, add him to my hairy bipedal creature collection, just to see what all the fuss is about with these figures. But it's looking like these are probably, and I guess I'm just guessing, are going to be a movie line that's going to be, one or two waves, and that is it. It's not your adult collector's line, but it is something different, and it's going all in on Masters in 2026. Going to be a very interesting year for that brand, as we know with the movie coming. So we'll see where that ends up going in the future here. But now we're going over to Mythic Legions. Never quiet with Mythic Legions. They did put a little bit of a calendar of what's coming and when shipping and pre-orders go up. I don't know if you guys are like me. I'm not all in on Mythic Legions. There's collectors out there, that's all they do. They just collect Mythic Legions in that universe. A little easier to keep track of. But if you're buying a lot of lines like I do, and maybe you do, it is a little bit tough to keep up with these Mythic Legions. I'm to the point now where I just don't even pre-order. I know you get some savings if you pre-order from them, maybe like $10 or $15 per figure. But I don't want my money tied up for 2 to 3 years at this point. Now, they are very vocal about telling you, hey, this is coming a year and a half, 2 years from now. And there is savings there, but I almost wonder, hey, will I still like Mythic Legions in 2 years? Will I still be into it in 3 years? And all of a sudden, you got all this stuff coming, you didn't want it. So I'm being a little bit more cautious, a little bit more timid in my pre-orders, and basically not ordering any of them. I'll wait till they're in stock. I'm picking and choosing. You can't be a completionist on Mythic Legions in the way I would want to be a completionist, as I want to display every single different look for a character, and that's just too expensive for anybody's wallet. But there's a lot of stuff coming, and on Friday this week, after I filmed Toy News, we did get Joe Manganiello's, an actor of some kind. I think he was a Sofia Vergara. That, to me, that's the tipping point for him. So kudos to him on that one. But outside of that, I'm not exactly sure what he does. But apparently he loves some Dungeons & Dragons, and he loves himself some Mythic Legions. And they did let him create 2 figures. Now, Oksana, I believe this is a tribute to Oksana from the WWE Once Upon a Time. I don't know, fact check that. Add that to the list, Todd McFarlane. But an interesting looking female figure is kind of what it is. Reusing some body parts. Got to reuse with kindness. But the one that got me excited, the one I will be ordering, is Arkham the Cruel, a big dragon. You always got me with a dragon. We got the big dragon coming later this year. But this one looked very, very nice. I'm very excited for this. This looks really cool with the fire effect, everything else. So a very fun figure, but is this going to be a continuing line where they go to his creations? You add that, you add the Figure Obscura, the Cosmic Legions, the Mythic Legions, all this Toy Fair, the Toy Fair exclusives, San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, all the different exclusives, the retailer exclusives. You add all that on there, it's just too much to keep track of. So we'll see where it all ends up going, but those are the first 2, and I assume a new toy line here from Mythic Legions. So a lot going on, a lot to keep track of. And speaking of a lot to keep track of, how about wrestling? Even after I filmed the Toy News, more wrestling news came through this week. Mattel coming in hot Saturday right before the Royal Rumble. And of course I watched the Royal Rumble. It was fine for what it was. There wasn't really any surprises. Didn't I say like Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar was going to win? And I know Roman Reigns did win. So kudos to Roman. I guess we'll see where that all goes. Will it be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns? That's kind of what I feel is going to happen. Maybe Finn Balor will get involved. Who knows what will happen there? More to come, I guess is what we'll say. Sad to see my buddy AJ Styles go out on his sword. That's the way it goes. Will he be done forever? They sure did talk it up like he is done wrestling forever on the after show and stuff. I don't know. You guys know my opinion here. Nobody's ever done. If somebody shows you enough money, you always got one more in you. You think AJ Styles retires 2 years from now, the Saudis say, we want AJ back one more time, and we're going to give him $5 million. AJ's like, I got my boots in the car. I'm ready to go. That's what's going to happen. Let's be honest with that. We're no different than that. Say you're working your day job, you retire. 2 years later, they say, hey, Bob, could you come in for one more shift, and we're going to pay you $200,000 for that shift. you'll come back. They always do. It's all about the money. Follow the money, Jesse Ventura style. But the Rumble was the Rumble. Now we turn our attention to the Elimination Chamber in Chicago. Oh, watch out for that. So more on that, I guess, as it comes. Maybe, maybe not. But speaking of wrestling, we saw over there Mattel Creations showing up a Rhea Ripley fashion doll, Barbie doll. I don't know what we want to call it. 11-inch doll of Rhea Ripley. Now, we've been teased with those in the past with that Macho Man Liz 2-pack from San Diego Comic-Con or Toy Fair once upon a time. And then we did have a girls line of dolls, Barbie doll inspired. You had the cheaper ones and the more expensive one. My little daughter at the time, she was all in, and we got all those. And you know how I am with action figures. Oh, you need that Becky Lynch, Naomi, and all that? Yeah, let's go get them. We'll get them all. And I remember picking all of those up for her once upon a time. So it's a little bit of that, but also adult collector themed here. And there's a lot of adult collectors that collect Barbie doll style figures. It's true, Todd McFarlane. I don't, but some do. This isn't for me, and I don't think this is aiming to be for me, of course. But it does look good for what it is. Some good articulation here. You get a title belt, something different, something great. And as we know, more females are getting into wrestling than ever before. Not in my house necessarily, but maybe your house. So Rhea Ripley, I think this will sell well. And I'm sure if it sells well, all of a sudden here comes Charlotte Flair, here comes Alexa, here comes Tiffany Stratton, and so on in the future. So we'll see where that ends up going here. Maybe more at Toy Fair, you never know. But speaking of a Toy Fair, how about London Toy Fair? They did award Mattel WWE the Toy Line of the Year for 2025. I don't know if I would go that far. I did my own top 5 toy lines of 2025. I had to put my boys in Classified up there at number 1. It is G.I. Joe Day after all. But I think they did the best job last year. I love Mattel. I love their Elite line. I love what they're doing. It's a golden time for action figure fans. However, what hurt Mattel last year was quality. We had paint application problems, and we had the old Vietnam problems left and right. We even saw that in China just the other day. One night in China, or one video in China the other day we did on the channel. Vietnam issues back on that one. So we're not clear out of the dark. The peace treaty's almost been signed, but we're still having quality issues. And I don't feel you can be the toy line of the year when for a good part of the year, basically every figure had one or two problems with the figure, be it the paint or the articulation. So amazing character selection, amazing lines, just got to dial in the quality. And I will say, fingers crossed, and knock on wood, we've been a lot better so far here in 2026 with the last couple of waves. That China without her in the mix. So we'll see where that goes. But 2025, as far as London goes, the WWE brand was the toy line of the year this year. A little bit more of retro wrestling. Of course, always retro wrestling news every single day. We saw WrestleFeds showing off some more Macho Man, showing off the soft goods robe, showing off the packaging art. They showed off that the Macho Man on the packaging art is actually officially licensed from the WWE. I don't know. I don't think this is $1 million company yet. I mean, I unboxed those Bulldogs. They were amazing. They're right at the top of the list as far as the best retro line so far. After only 3 releases, really 1 in a lot of ways. I don't know if I would spend the extra money to get an official Macho Man image. It's a good touch, but is the juice worth the squeeze? Does that cut into the profits too much? But at the same time, constant learning, constant improvement. If you want to move the business forward, it takes money to make money, so you add that cost in there. I don't know. I'm not sure all their business dealings, all their business designs, but it'll be interesting to see where these Macho Men go. As we know, Macho Man very popular. We have a lot of retro Macho Mans, but do we need more? I guess WrestleFeds thinks we do, but we'll see. They look really, really good. We'll see where that goes later on in 2026. But now we got another update, Todd McFarlane. I can't believe it. So quick, such a quick turnaround, but we got it here today. We got a Powertown update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
All right, a quick one as far as Powertown goes, and it's always quick, except in delivering figures. But they're quick to take our money. They're quick to send the emails out. You got 1 day left to pre-order, 2 days left to pre-order. We remember that whole song and dance from like a decade ago when we first pre-ordered these figures. But I did come across, I was out at the mall the other day, as one does. My kids wanted to go to the K-pop store. They wanted to go to the Chick-fil-A, of course, of all places, where I'm like, I just can't eat this Chick-fil-A. But I did run into a few of the marketing people from Powertown, and conveniently enough, they rented one of the conference rooms at the mall. So I was like, that's so weird. I guess saw you guys in Rock Island not too long ago, and now you're here today. But we did go into there, and as we were walking in, I said, guys, you know, what's it going to take to get some details on what's going on with these figs? What's it going to take to get these figs in our hand? And like clockwork, I couldn't have wrote it better. All of a sudden, they opened up the door, and there was a little performance going on. Keyword little. to get our figures, it's going to take a little bit of magic, a little bit of hocus pocus, and a little bit of that old-fashioned hoochie coo if we're going to be able to get these figures. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty good on all three of those. Todd, you are as well. But the Powertown updates continue. We'll see what ends up happening. But we're whoa, stop the clock. Got to break in here as I almost forgot. How dare I? Of course, as of February 1st, pre-orders live. You got 30 days. The order is the order. It is Collect Major. It is the Big Rubber Guys. It is the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond. Of course, two All-American boys going to join the Big Rubber Guy collection. Two of my most wanted figures from the Big Rubber Guys, or Mattel if they would have made them. But these guys should have had LJNs. They should have had Hasbros. And now we're getting them from the Big Rubber Guys. You got a month to get your order in. The time is now. Finish off the toy news this week with our friend from the couch, Todd McFarlane, with just one little update here. We're going to the Page Puncher variety. We're going to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Got to get the most out of your molds. Got to get the most out of your properties. We got repaints on the Ninja Turtles. Hate to say it, hard pass for me, Todd. I don't need more of these turtles repainted in a grayscale, but it is Todd getting the most out of his molds. We talked yesterday about his Sport Picks line. I'm fully expecting something else from Todd and the crew to fill some of the holes. Maybe, dare I say, go airtight on some things. We'll see where it goes with McFarlane Toys, but you know they're not going to just take it down on the ground lying. They're going to dive into something, and I'm anxious to see could they finally put their toes into some wrestling? Could we see more Ninja Turtle varieties? Could we see more things like Sport Picks? Apparently they got hockey, they got basketball, and possibly baseball in the future. Going to be very interesting. Once again, the fork in the road is there. Watch out for it. But watch out for the toy news, as that's a quick update here. Not even that quick, like 20-minute update, but you know how we do it around these parts. But we're celebrating G.I. Joe Day in style. What were you excited about as far as the announcements here? Anything you have to have in your collection? Anything you want? Anything you're excited about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. You made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell, as we got videos every single day. And then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Get on the giveaway. Get on all the awesome content over there every single day. Early access to videos, podcasts, you name it. Best way to support the channel. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and The Kyle Peterson Show. And don't forget my book, of course, the Kyle Peterson book on the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers and the Jakks Classic Superstar series, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So that's it. Another toy news. You know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another work week.
Well, are we going to dance or are we going to play?
It's after midnight! People are trying to sleep! Stop! Stop it!
Whoa, stop the clock. Kyle breaking in here at the end of the video. I'm always interested to see who stays for everything at the end. You guys sit around and stay through me giving all the plugs and all that stuff at the end of the video. And then, of course, I always put in some different little images, a little different videos in there as we close out each episode of the Kyle Peterson shows across the board. But this one I'm going to try this again, as I've tried it in the past and nobody has reached out. So it's always funny. I like to have fun on here, but I got a giveaway. Sandman, McFarlane Toys Sandman, gold label, Target exclusive once upon a time. Whoever comments first in the comments of this very video will win the Sandman. Good luck!